I think we should start by paying tribute to Bill Arthur, because obviously the formal announcement of his passing came after we went off air last week, and I think came as a shock to everybody, even though we knew that clearly he hadn't been well for a little while. But it said a lot when tributes are paid to people that no one would have a bad word to say about him, and more often than not. That might not always be true, but in Bill's case, it absolutely is. I don't know anybody who was more selfless, encouraging, passionate about a sport that he wasn't originally familiar with, an expansionist, didn't overplay his hand in any of the commentaries that he did, had the confidence of all the players that he interviewed when he was on the touchline because he was so professional, and he obviously made it quite clear that whilst he had to ask some difficult questions, it was all one under the banner of wanting to get the best for the sport, and I think that was appreciated by people. The tributes that fans have paid to him by the minute's applause have been genuine and heartfelt at all of the grounds, especially in Catalan, I think, on Saturday evening, where he was held in extremely high regard. So yeah, very, very a genuinely lovely man who I always had time to talk, always wanted to know what was best for rugby league, and what your thoughts were on all the major issues. And personally, he was a massive advocate of what we were trying to do with the magazine, and was very, very supportive of it.
It's times like this, John, you hear the word professional used a lot, and that's a great word to describe Bill.
Yes, I didn't know him particularly well. I'm sure compared with someone like Phil, but I think everyone who worked with him spoke very highly of him. Obviously battled, I think, prostate cancer for 13 years, which is a long fight. But I think the job that Sky did, I think I thought that was fantastic, the way they treated it. The comments from the likes of Barry and Terry and Brian Carney, I thought it was very considered and very well done. I think if you're a rugby league fan of 30 years or more, you would have come across his commentary or his interviews, and he did a fantastic job, covering the game. So he'll be sorely missed.
When we were video refereeing in the, they used to call it, I don't know if they still call it, but they used to call it the shagger, the camper van at the grounds. It was what was otherwise known as the green room. But what we observed there was that the Sky team is very much a family, and Bill was at the heart of that, and a genuinely nice bloke. Always seemed very fair to officials, and always had the time of day for a conversation. Was always keen to ask a question and learn something, and likewise. I think everyone has said the same thing. You're just a genuinely nice person, and I hadn't realised. I knew he had prostate cancer for some time, but I hadn't realised he'd been ill again recently. So it came as a shock to me. But he will be missed for sure.
One of the things you say, Phil, I think it's important, is that how encouraging he was to newer members of the media, younger members of the media. I think it's important that people don't forget their responsibilities in that sense. And it's good to know that he was one of those people who was encouraging to people who may have been completely new to our sport.
Yeah, and I think the other sadness is we've grown up over here with obviously probably maybe 5 people that we would associate with Sky. So that, as Eddie and Steve-O, Angela Powers, Bill, and obviously Neville Smith running the ship. And now sort of Bill is the last of those to depart. And obviously, we wish good health to all of those that are still with us, but none of them are part of our coverage. And I think in the same way that David Morrow was incredibly well respected in Australia, as being a lead commentator for ABC, and then I think he went into, was it Triple M or the Continuous Call team, and he passed away the week before last, and again held in similar esteem. But Bill was just very quiet in the way that he went about it, because I think he felt that there were some very big personalities in that Sky team, and he didn't need to obviously play that kind of a card. So he was the calming presence on the touchline, while Steve-O would say black was white, and and Eddie would come up with some great phrase about what we were just what the wide to west or something. So I think, and then when Bill stepped into the commentary seat, I think he just moved it in a slightly different direction, because I don't think he wanted to be the personality. We'd had that sort of double act, if you like, and he took it down a different road. Very, very encouraging when he was on Boots and All, and he used to do features on that to people like Barry and Terry, who were given their initial opportunities in broadcasting, and he took them a little bit under their wing. Did a wonderful feature, as Sky reminded us, with Dave Hadfield, who we got on really, really well with. But he chaired back chat as well when either Rod wasn't available or whoever then took it on, and was always extremely measured, always made the guests feel at home and that they could make a contribution. And so, was a great guy to go out for a coffee with after we'd done a broadcast, and was genuinely interested in what you were doing, rather than taking the centre stage himself.
Ridiculously huge boots to fill in Eddie and Steve Rose as well, as you say, and it was the warm tributes from all his successors, I guess, in a sense. Sadly, not his colleagues this season, because he didn't commentate this year, did he? But from Dave and Mark and so on and so forth on the TV this week, and very warm tributes. And as you say, it is kind of an end of an era, not just Eddie, Steve, Angela, Bill, and Neville Smith, but also the Try Music's gone, which was a part of this 30 years. Everyone who's grown up watching, or is grown up the right word for people who were already grown up when Sky started? I don't know. It's kind of, when things have always been there and they change, it's strange, but that's unfortunately life, and it's sad. It's sad, as you say, professional, never the star in the interview, was it? This is an important thing about interviewing, and John will know this more than anything, because he does interviews all the time for written journalism. It's not about you; it's about the person you're interviewing. They're the ones telling the story. You're not the story, are you?
No, I think you put that perfectly. I think it's one of the things I hate about modern journalism. You see a lot of it, journalists getting selfies and photos with athletes or people they're interviewing, and it's not really about that. It's about the person. It's their words. It's their quotes. It's you don't really want to inject yourself into the story. You need to be impartial and balanced. And I think Bill Arthur did that very well in terms of being a friendly presence to players, warm, and he did his best to promote the game in a positive way, and I think he did a great job of that.